pours love into the family. He pours love into the home. So his love can overflow into the world. I want to spend my life mending broken people. I want to spend my life removing pain. Lord, let my words heal a heart that hurts. I want to spend my life mending broken people, so his love can overflow into the world.
God bless you and welcome back to Three Angels Broadcasting. And once again, we're just so happy and thankful that you've joined us today. As you can see, Fluffy is grinning ear to ear. She looks pretty happy today, doesn't she? That's because her favorite person in all the world is here, and that's Barbara Kerr with Taste of Health Ministries. You know, someone once said that what we eat and drink today walks and talks tomorrow, and that's exactly why Barbara created the ministry of Taste of Health. And Barbara, what she does is creates wonderful vegetarian recipes that taste good, that look good, and most importantly, that are good for you. And she's here today, and Fluffy, of course, has volunteered to be our chief taste tester. So she's going to be around to pick up some of the crumbs that drop to the floor, but we'll probably help her out there too. But I'm so thankful that she's here. With Valentine's Day right around the corner, she has come up with a wonderful menu that she's calling a sweetheart menu. And I think I'll give you just a sneak preview of what that menu is. She's going to be making some fettuccine, also some oven roasted carrots and green beans, herb baked tomatoes, sweetheart focaccia bread, no-bake dark cherry cheesecake, and cinnamon stick baked apples. So we'd like to encourage you at this time to get your pen, get your paper, and jot down these recipes. And if you're not able to get the recipes down quick enough, please call us here at 1-800-752-3226, and we will send these recipes to you absolutely free of charge. We just consider it a great privilege and an honor to have Barbara here, and we think her recipes are tremendous, and we consider it a great privilege to share them. Well, you know, with Valentine's Day just around the corner, I think a lot of people of all ages are preparing for the big Valentine splash when they shower the people that they love with carefully selected cards or homemade valentines, not to mention an assortment of all kinds of gifts that are supposed to show how much that particular person is loved. You know, down through history, I think it's always been the same. People will go to great lengths to prove that they really love somebody. You know, in the year 1875, there was a man named Marcel de Leclerc, and he was a painter who lived in Paris, France, and he wanted to prove to his girlfriend just how much he loved her. So he hired a scribe to write the words, "I love you," 1,875,000 times. Now, he wanted it to come from his heart, but he didn't want to actually do the writing himself. So he dictated the words, "I love you," and had the man doing the writing repeat the words as he was writing them down. So by the time the letter reached its destination, the words, "I love you," had been spoken and written a total of 5,625,000 times. You know, Robert Ripley from Ripley's Believe It or Not said that never was love made manifest by as great an expenditure of time and effort. Now, I have to say that if my husband ever did anything like that, I would not be convinced that I was loved, but I would be convinced that he was crazy. You know, love isn't how much you how many times you write the words, and it isn't how often that you say the words. It's so much more than that. You know, someone once wrote a poem that talks about love and explains it like this. Love is not passion. Love is not pride. Love is a journeying side by side. Not of the breezes nor of the gale. Love is the steady set of the sail. Deeper than feelings, sweeter than light, born in the sunshine, born for the night. Flaming in victory, strongest in loss, love is a sacrament made for a cross. You know, in other words, love is not what you do, but love is what you are. Love is taking out the garbage and it's drying the dishes. Love is taking some hot soup to a sick friend. And love is just being conscious of the details and sensitive to the needs of someone. You know, what good is a letter that says, I love you 5 million times when what you need right now is someone to go to the store with you or just to listen what's in your heart? You know, love is not what you do. It's really who you are. And there's a lot of different flavors of love in the world, but genuine love and a love that will stand the test only can come from God, because God is love. We find in the Bible, in 1 John chapter 4, verses 7 and 8, it says this, Beloved, let us love one another, for love springs from God, and he who loves is born of God and is coming progressively to know and understand God. He who does not love has not become acquainted with God, does not and never did know him, for God is love. You know, when Jesus comes into your heart, many things happen, but one of them is he puts his heart of love inside of you, and that love has got to be expressed somehow. And if you don't express it, that spirit inside of you, it's just going to dry up. And that's really why we do programs like the one that we're doing today. Reaching out to someone, inviting them over to your home, spending time with them, and listening to their problems is what love is all about. And why not give them a great gourmet vegetarian meal while they're there? Maybe you have a family member that gives you a headache on a regular basis. Try cooking them a big, healthy, good-tasting veggie dinner and just showering them with love. Love is the greatest mountain mover and heart changer on the face of the earth, because God is love. And God is in the changing business. He changes darkness to light. He changes ashes to beauty. And he changes conflict to peace. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Father, in Jesus' name, we just come before you today. And we're so thankful today that you are our God and that you are in control of all situations. And Father, we realize that love is not something that can be manufactured or created in our own hearts. It's something that you put inside of us. And Lord, we come to you asking today that you will manifest yourself in each of our hearts in an abundant way, and that people will be able to see your love through us. I pray, Father, that you will give us such a sensitivity to the people around us that we will be able to discern when someone needs a friend, when someone needs someone to just be a listener. And I pray, Father, that most importantly, we will be listening to your Holy Spirit directing us, showing us just exactly what you would have us to do each and every day. And I pray, Father, especially for that brother, for that sister who is listening to this program today. I pray that you will reveal yourself to them in a very special way, that they will know beyond a shadow of a doubt that that God of love, the God of the universe, loves them so very, very much. And once again, Lord, we thank you for hearing and answering us as we pray. Amen. You know, God's glory is His love. God's glory is His character, and He has such a character of love. And at this time, Jennifer LaMountain is going to be singing about that love in a very special song. So come on into our living room and listen.
I hear them crying, people of every land, needing answers, someone to take their hand, needing someone to show them the way, a light in the darkness, shining a brighter day. You hold the keys, you hold the answers for someone in need, someone wanting more, instruments of peace, vessel of deliverance for someone needing the Lord. Make His glory known in all the earth. Sound His praise and let your voice be heard. All creation awaits you, heaven's host behind you, people of God, His holy church. Oh, make His glory known in all the earth. All it takes is a heart to see the need, a willing spirit to sing His praise and peace, open arms to embrace a hurting mass. Salvation's power heals a wounded past. You hold the keys, you hold the answers for someone in need, someone wanting more, instruments of peace, vessel of deliverance for someone needing the Lord. Make His glory known in all the earth. Sound His praise and let your voice be heard. All creation waits you, heaven's hosts behind you, people of God, His holy church. Oh, make His glory known in all the earth. Sound His praise and let your voice be heard. All creation waits you, heaven's hosts behind you, people of God, His holy church. Oh, make His glory known in all the earth. Sound His praises, make His glory, make His glory known, make His glory known in all the earth. Sound His praise and let your voice be heard. All creation waits you, heaven's hosts behind you, people of God, His holy church. Oh, make His glory known. Oh, make His glory known. Make His glory known in all the earth.
Welcome back to the 3ABN Kitchen, and we have got a sweetheart menu for you that was put together by a sweetheart, Barbara Kerr.
Thank you. Oh, it's
Good to have you back.
Thank you, Linda. It's so good to be here. And I have to tell you, it's much better to be here this week and much less stressful than being at my house. So this was actually a vacation for me.
What's happening at your house?
Well, I'll tell you. We have had, I don't know if you were following the weather, but South Carolina got one of the worst snowstorms they've ever had. About a week and a half ago, we got over 6 inches in Columbia. And our city is not prepared for snow, and so it literally brought everything to a halt. And that was also the week Bill and I were moving.
Perfect timing.
Oh, I'll tell you, moving. And, you know, to make matters a little more stressful, our house didn't get finished in time, so we were officially homeless a couple of weeks ago. But it's so great to have church members that take pity on you and take you in. And so we have been truly blessed to have a family take us in, and so I'm so glad to be here.
Oh my. So with the snow and with the moving, and you were also preparing recipes for 3ABN, and you don't look a bit stressed.
Well, thank you, Linda. You know, it's funny because when you get to 3ABN, it's just you can just relax with the family here, and I just really enjoy
that's
coming and being part of this family. And I'll tell you, going home and knowing that poor Bill had to unload the trucks by himself into a garage with no garage doors on it, my heart went out to him. So thank you, Bill. But usually we have people come and move us whenever he makes a company change, but this was one of our own, so it was tough.
Oh,
and I've
boy.
come to the conclusion we have entirely too much junk.
Oh.
So, but I'm sure that, you know, everybody goes through the too much junk phase. So.
That's true. That's true.
This is.
Well, when you get home, you're just going to have to make Bill this dinner that you've created.
I will, because he has definitely been a sweetheart, and he does like this. He's tasted these. As a matter of fact, I still was not finished with all the recipes when we had to move out of the house. So I did finish preparing some of them at the Durkins, who took us in. So, but it all came together as God always works everything out.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
I'm excited. And this fettuccine recipe that we're starting with today is wonderful because it's low in fat. And normally fettuccine, I don't know if you know this, a serving has 68 grams of fat in it. Mine does not. It has very few. I think we figured it out to maybe 5 or 6.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, very
That's
good. And
awesome.
it tastes great. So, you know, let's go ahead because we've got just a menu packed full of things for you to make for your sweetheart. But again, it's a meal that's simple in style, things that you can make ahead so that, you know, you're not stressed out when you want to sit down with your sweetie.
Good.
So, the first fettuccine with red peppers, green onions, and pine nuts. We're going to go ahead and read those ingredients for you now. You'll need 1 tablespoon olive oil, 2 red bell peppers, 6 green onions cut into long, thin strips, 2/3 cup Hokan light coconut milk, 1/2 cup white grape juice, 1/4 cup veggie style Parmesan cheese, 8 ounces de Bols fettuccine noodles, and 1/4 cup of toasted pine nuts. Now this recipe is very simple, and it has a lot of color in it. So we're going to start out by, I've got our pan hot, and we're going to, I'll let this oil heat up. We're going to saute our pepper. Now what I did, instead of doing 2 red, I put a yellow and a red because I like as much color as possible. So we'll let this heat up. And all we've done with our noodles, and I think well, let me put these in and let them start. We'll show those here in a second. We want to saute these until they're crisp tender, about 4 minutes. So we'll let them get started. Now, on our noodles, what I've done, Linda, de Bols makes a really nice brand of healthy noodles. You can get linguine, fettuccine, just anything you want. Now, I'll go ahead to add more color again and get the spinach noodles and the regular ones. And then I just use half a box of each, so that once we boil this, you have a really pretty
2 colors.
Yeah, really pretty 2 colors. And I think the more colors you can add to something, the better. So all I've done is boil that for 10 minutes in salted water, and then I drain that and then instantly run cold water over to stop it from cooking. And then I just leave it in a colander until I'm ready to put it in our pan later. And you can just if you're going to make this way ahead, about every hour, go ahead and rinse it with water so that it's not too sticky. Now what I want you to do is toast our 1/4 cup of pine nuts. And your pan's not on yet, so and without a gas flame, it's hard to tell how hot it's getting, so we'll watch this. And you just do this in a dry skillet, and you just want them to get brown on one side. Whoops, we're losing a few.
We're adding color to the stove, huh?
You won't be eating that, so that's okay. So,
Well, what gave you this idea for this recipe?
oh, I saw a picture of a fettuccine dish in a magazine that had peppers in it and pine nuts, and I thought, this is it. But of course, they use heavy cream, and they use wine and things like that. So I just love to take gourmet recipes and turn them into something healthy.
Right.
So because I'll tell you, I just have seen, well, as a matter of fact, I was standing at a bread company, or a healthy bread company in town this last week, and a gal started talking to me behind me in line, and her husband came in, and she's a vegetarian and he is not. And he said, I will not become a vegetarian until I can find health food that tastes good. And so I think that that really is the
That's the key.
the problem for a lot of people. So they just feel like health food doesn't taste good, and I just think that it tastes great and that you can make it taste great.
Oh, absolutely.
So, and I think that that's our job. So, although I don't think I've ever had one of your dinners.
Well, I'm going to have you over.
I would love to taste your cooking, Linda, because I have a feeling that it's extremely good.
Oh.
And
Well-
please put onions in it.
Okay.
We'll let Danny eat a little something else.
I'll do that.
Okay.
Actually, Dan and myself, during the week, because we're working at 3ABN, we eat quite simple. We'll go the salads and the sandwiches or the soups. But on the weekends, when we have just a little bit more time, that's when I get out the cookbooks. And many times they're Barbara Kerr recipes. So when you
that's
come over
sweet.
to my house, you might recognize
My
some of the
mother
dishes.
does that too. She's funny. Well, that's fine. Okay, let's go ahead and put our green onions in. Can you grab this? Now, this is just 6 green onions. Kind of wrapped them in here, but I'll show you what I've done. I've just cut them into long strips. It's not as hard as it may look here because I've kind of gotten loose, but you just take one and hold it down and pull a paring knife through it 2 times, and that's it. This makes it look a little harried there. You don't have to do that, but if you want to do it the Barbara Kerr way.
Of course, onions add the best flavor to any dish.
Well, I think so. How are our pine nuts coming? Is that hot enough yet?
It feels hot.
Okay, good.
They're not getting
That's okay.
toasty yet.
They'll brown here. I don't use electric at home. I use gas, and so it's a lot easier just to check the flame. And electric, I have no. I can't get a grasp for how hot it is. One of those very visual people.
So you probably could even make this in a wok.
Sure. I just like this because this 12-inch skillet is so wide and deep that I can put anything in here. Now, after we saute this for 2 more minutes, and we just let the green onion kind of wilt a little bit more, we're just going to take this out and put it in a bowl, and then we'll heat up our sauce. And the sauce is only 2/3 cup of Hokan Light coconut milk, okay? Now, you can't use soy milk in this place because when you put soy milk with the fruit juice, and we have a 1/2 cup of white grape juice, I'm saying this so I don't get any more letters that say people don't know how much the ingredients are, it will curdle. So I have found this brand of coconut milk that's very low in fat, and yes, coconut is a saturated fat, but God still made the coconut. So I think that used in moderation in the right recipe, this is far better for you than heavy farm cream and butter.
Sure.
So, and it gives you a lot of the taste.
But it doesn't have near the fat or the calories.
There's only 35 calories in 1/4 of a cup, and we've got, how much is it, 2/3 of a cup in here? So we've got a little more than a half. So you've got maybe 80, 90 calories, and not all of that comes from fat in this recipe.
So when we go to the grocery store and we're looking for coconut milk, we really need to watch those labels.
Yeah, I find this one at Walmart Superstore, the ones that have the groceries. And I've had a few people that say they can't find it. And my suggestion is if you can only find the coconut milk that has the 90 calories per quarter cup, just dilute it, 1 part coconut milk to 2 parts water, because all that's in it is water and coconut and water. So I think that'll be fine. Okay, Linda, do you want to?
Are we ready?
We're going to put the veggies in there in this bowl.
Okay.
So I'm going to hold the pan and let you do that because we need to use this again.
So you've gotten these to where they're just kind of crisp, tender.
We want it to be real colorful and still real tasty. And you can see our pine nuts are starting to brown, so that's good. We'll let them get just a little browner. But now in this pan, we want to go ahead and put our cream sauce, not our noodles yet. Go ahead and put the juice in. And we let this reduce by half. I'll turn that up on high. Right, yes. My right from my left. Okay, and then once this begins to boil and reduce, then we're going to put our noodles in and cook that. And then all it does is warm through. We add this back, and the last thing we put in is our veggie-style Parmesan cheese. And I have this in a bottle back here on that tray, and we can show them what this looks like. This is a new Parmesan-style cheese made by it's Galaxy Food makes it. Have you tasted this, Linda? Tastes like Parmesan cheese, and this is garlic herb flavor. And you can find this in just about every grocery store.
Wow.
So,
and it's made with organic tofu.
Yes.
Boy, they do all kinds of things with tofu, don't they?
They have an outstanding products that taste very good. And they have you tried their new cheese slices? We put it in some of the Christmas or Thanksgiving recipes, remember, this last year. So they've got some very good tasting things. As a matter of fact, they have a new veggie butter that's not buttered. I think there's 5 calories per 2 teaspoons or something. So it tastes pretty good.
Wow.
I like it. I like the flavor. So people are coming closer and closer in those replacements of things. So, okay. All right. I think that this hasn't quite reduced, but we're going to go ahead and put our noodles in it, sake of time. And this will coat them just enough. And let's see, we want to save out, I guess we can do that in one of these bowls. I want to save out a little bit of our topping for garnish that we don't want to put into there. Maybe just a cup. That might be too much. I think I've got all the onions in there.
That looks good.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead and toss that in here, and we'll just keep that through.
Boy, this is going to be a beautiful dish.
Now this really, you don't want it too juicy. You want to cook this down more than I have today, okay? And after you put this in, the last thing you add is the veggie cheese to coat it, and it kind of separates the noodles and gives it just that cheese flavor. Okay, and go ahead and
that looks beautiful.
Our pine nuts. Yeah, go ahead and put that in.
Okay.
This really gives it the fettuccine flavor. And
are you
go
ready
ahead and
for
put,
that?
yeah, put all of them in except for maybe just a little bit to garnish the top. I love pine nuts.
Oh, yeah,
they're a little
good.
bit expensive. And obviously you could leave this out of this recipe, but I don't know who does all of the little pine cone nut picking. It's a job I wouldn't want, but I'll tell you what, those pine nuts taste great. And that is our fettuccine.
Wow.
And it is delicious.
That looks wonderful.
So we just need to put this on a platter. I've got one here. I hope it's big enough. And then we'll garnish the top. How about if you direct? We'll push it out of here and let it get
I'll try not to get it on the counter.
Yeah, especially since it's a little bit juicy still.
I've been reading this health book lately, and it was talking about groups of people that are noted for longevity, you know, living for many, many years, and they've found that the people who live the longest are Bulgarians.
Oh, yes?
And their regular lifestyle includes that they are lacto-vegetarians, and they eat nuts on a regular basis, and they drink a lot of water. They're very active, and I think this would fit right in with the types of recipes that they eat.
I think so. Well, I think that it's been proven, study after study, that vegetarians live longer. But it also, we need to be responsible and eat a wide variety. That's why I like to put a lot of different colors into every meal. I don't always do that, but I really make an effort to do that, because truly the more colors you have in food, you can be assured of getting more vitamins and nutrients and stuff. So
we
don't get stuck in a rut.
Right, right.
So this is our fettuccine.
Looks great. This is something that I think both of our sweethearts will like.
I know, mine likes it already. So.
Well, Barbara, what's coming up next?
Oh, one of my favorites, oven roasted carrots and green beans, and one of Bill's favorites too. So, Linda, why don't you read those ingredients first now?
Sure. You will need 2 large carrots, a ½ pound of fresh green beans, 4 tablespoons of olive oil, and salt to taste.
Now on this recipe, Linda, I really chose these with my sweetheart in mind, because green beans are his favorite.
All right.
So, and I love carrots, and this is so simple. So we're going to start with a ½ pound of green beans that I leave whole. Some of them, that if they don't look so great, I'll snap the end off, but you can go ahead and put these directly into our roasting pan.
Okay.
Put this over here.
And this roasting pan, as you can see, has seen many roastings.
Well, you know, this is a really good point to bring up, because a lot of times I've told everyone about the stoneware that I use, but I've not told them that the longer you use it, the more seasoned it gets, the darker it looks, and the more loved it is.
Yeah,
so,
that's
good.
right.
Now on the carrots, this is a garnisher, but you do not need to use this. You can just use a knife. But of course, I like to do things fancy. So I'm just going to go across about an angled cut.
That's about a ¼ inch thick.
Yeah, not too thick, because you want this to roast in the oven. And it is sharp, so do watch your fingertips. And then put those on one side. Now, you get to do one.
Okay. Do you think mine will look near as pretty as yours?
Oh, I think they will.
I don't think I'm quite as seasoned of a cook as you are.
Oh, come on. You have a few more years experience, though.
Oh.
But not many.
Well, I think you spent more years in the kitchen than I have, though.
I have kind of grown up in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So, and I like it. I don't like the everyday cooking. I really don't. But I really do like the, let's make up a new recipe kind of stuff. I like that a lot. So,
that's fun.
Now this is really highly technical. So all you need is a little salt, okay? And this just depends on your taste. I probably should have put the olive oil on there first. And you're just gonna drizzle.
Ooh.
Well, that wasn't really a drizzle, was it? This bottle doesn't, some of these oil bottles have a good drizzle. That was about 4 tablespoons.
Okay.
Can you toss that, and it doesn't matter if you mix up the veggies, but I have to rinse the salt off my hand. I had a run-in with the food processor yesterday, and
Who won?
the food processor.
Oh, dear.
But I have learned where the first aid kit is.
See, I wasn't with you. Now, if I were with you, we would have won.
And it was on the cheesecake that we're making later on, and I ruined the crust. I turned my back just for a minute, and it got over-processed, and I thought, great, I don't have any more ingredients. Reached in there to take it out, and I wasn't careful, and, the rest of the story.
We can praise God for some of those dinner disasters, because we can thank God for all the times that didn't happen and things worked. See?
That's right, they really do. I just started singing, and from there on everything went better.
Went good.
That's right. Now all you're going to do is stick this in the oven. You can do it a couple ways. I just put it in under my broiler on high and set a timer for every 5 minutes. And every 5 minutes I go back and toss them with the little food tossers, and just after about 25 to 30 minutes they're done. But you need to check it, and we have our finished one here, and it really, I I love these.
It
They're
looks
so
great.
sweet. When
so
you
they
roast
they
a
get a
carrot,
little bit toasty.
you want them browned on
And
the
if you're
end.
making this for your sweetheart, you must put it in a heart dish.
Oh, of course. So you can set this aside. Our next recipe is also very simple, and it's herb-baked tomatoes. And the ingredients for this are 2 large tomatoes, and you're going to cut these in 1/2-inch slices, 1/2 cup Pepperidge Farm cubed herb seasoning. You'll need some veggie Parmesan cheese and fresh or dried thyme leaves and salt to taste.
Sounds like a winner.
Go ahead. Let's take our slices, and you can just, it doesn't matter if you put them out single layer or overlapping. These fit probably better in this pan, single layer. And this is, I don't know, you do baked potatoes a lot, but I thought baked tomatoes sounded kind of good to me. And we're just going to, you put a little bit of salt on, and this is, you know, purely to taste. Okay, and now you go ahead and spoon on some breadcrumbs, and I just took the cubes and just pulverized them a little bit in my food processor, break them up.
This is one of those 5 minutes or less
That's right.
recipes.
And then you're going to bake this at 350 for about 15 to 20 minutes. And that way your tomato is not really wilted or soggy. You've heated it through. It's got a little bit of the roasted flavor. And next we sprinkle with some veggie cheese, Parmesan. And you could leave this off, but I think it gives it a nice flavor. And then I did bring fresh thyme from my garden, but it didn't make it. So it was the last thing I did before I left my house was go out to my garden and cut herbs, because I knew I was going to be missing them. You can't dig up that stuff and take it with you. It just, I've never been successful at it.
Didn't work, huh?
And we have a finished one. And you're just going to cook this until it browns.
That looks great.
And, you know, in the wintertime, though, it's difficult to find tomatoes that are real ripe. So if you can't find a big tomato that looks good, just get some plum tomatoes, because a lot of times they have a lot more color and they look and smell better. So whatever, it doesn't matter what kind, just go with it. So we're on to our next recipe.
That's a winner.
And it's a focaccia bread. This is Sweetheart focaccia bread. And those ingredients are 1/4 cup warm water, 1 tablespoon sucanat, 1 1/4 teaspoon dry yeast, 1/2 cup soy milk at room temperature, 1/2 cup water, room temperature, 1 tablespoon extra virgin olive oil plus more for drizzling, 3/4 teaspoon salt, that's a fine salt, and you're also going to need coarse salt for your topping, and 3.5 to 4 cups of whole wheat pastry flour, and 1 large sprig of fresh rosemary.
All right, Barbara, what is focaccia?
Focaccia is just a flatbread.
So
That
why didn't they say flatbread?
you could call this rosemary flatbread, actually, but focaccia, I don't know if that comes from the French or where. I'm sure someone will write me a letter down and tell me. But
It sounds gourmet.
yeah, well, you know, you can get. Have you ever had a focaccia sandwich where they take the flatbread and slice it in half and then grill it with veggies in it? Oh, it's so good.
We live in Thompsonville.
Oh, this is right. Come to Columbia. We have a wonderful restaurant. So
Okay.
all you need to do is take, let me give you those ingredients again, 1/4 cup warm water, and we've put our 1 tablespoon sucanat, which is a sugar that's just dehydrated sugar cane. I want to mention that is not refined, and you can get that at the health food store. And 1 1/4 teaspoon dry yeast. Now you're supposed to wait until this is creamy. We're not going to do that. So Linda's going to go ahead and put in our soy milk, which is a 1/2 cup. And this is a new brand called Silk, and I'm going to show this to you in a minute while she's kneading. And 1/2 cup water, which is right here.
Okay.
1 tablespoon extra virgin olive oil. And 3/4 of a teaspoon fine salt, and then we have our coarse salt for later. I'm sorry I missed that top for you there.
We like our salt to be fresh.
That's right. Hopefully it
Okay.
will come out in the bowl. Okay, now you need 1 cup, so go ahead and just
Okay.
dig in and take a cup
My
of
hands
flour. out of-
really are clean.
Yeah.
That's now that was a half.
about-
That's a half
you
a
need
cup.
another. It's
Okay.
funny because I have a recipe
cup.
from my great grandma Sprouse that's handwritten, and it's so funny because everything was, 3 fistfuls of that, and it's the measurements that I wouldn't know how to do. So you just want to turn this into form the gluten with this first bit of flour, and that's very important. I'm going to add a little more. I got to get my hands in there. Now I'm going to get that silk milk while you just mix that up. Okay, let's go ahead and start to incorporate our flour about a half a cup at a time until it gets thick, and then we'll take it out and knead it. But this is the milk. It's called Silk Milk. It's a new soy milk. It's by White Wave, and this is an excellent soy milk. This is the first soy milk that I feel like I can just sit down and drink a glass of. And the vanilla, well, I use regular in recipes like bread, but the vanilla is excellent for cereals, and I like to drink it.
And there's only 3 grams of fat per serving.
This is really good, and it has a very interesting article about Henry Ford and how he really used soybeans and farmers during World War II, and he found a way to put over a bushel of soybeans in every vehicle that he turned out. He put them into the plastic, he used the fiber, in so many different, into the steering wheels and everything, the horns and the covers. So he did that to help the farmers, and I just thought that was really neat.
That is neat.
He even had a suit made out of soybean fibers that he wore. I mean, now that is real dedication. I think we're going to have to take that out of there, and this is going to be the by hand time now.
Yeah.
So, but I just wanted to really tell you, this is something that I can definitely take a nice glass of.
I didn't know that
You need a-
soybeans could do all those things, but
Well, he just took his chemists and he put them to work. He said, find a vegetable that we can use in our cars, and they came up with the soybean and the fiber from it to do that. As I read that story on the back of the carton, I was totally amazed, and I thought, that is really neat. But he actually called it a soybean wool. It was very similar to wool, the fiber that was made. So I don't know why we don't make clothes out of soybeans now, but I guarantee you I don't have any. So, but I think that's kind of neat. So yeah, go ahead and put that in there and just dig in with your hands, Linda.
oh yeah,
just-
sometimes when the frustrations kind of build up, and
But
you
not
wanna,
from Danny, right?
No, not from Dan and not from 3ABN, but just
course not.
just circumstances.
That's
and,
right.
And you just have to get in here and make some bread.
That's right. That's very good. You need to take out your frustrations. That's one of the reasons
And actually,
I like my chopper.
don't they say the more that you need bread, the better it turns out?
Yes, because it really makes it elastic and really forms that gluten. And that's a problem with a lot of people. Well, when they make bread at home and you've got big tears in it and holes, you're just not forming the gluten enough at the beginning. So why don't you turn that out onto the counter, Linda? Does it feel like it needs any more flour, or does that feel pretty good?
I think it feels pretty
Okay.
good.
Now the simple part about this recipe in particular is that I have cut out a few steps. And in doing that, hopefully simplified your bread making experience, because I hate waiting for bread to double. I mean, I'm impatient when it comes to that. And you need that. Let me get these heart bowls. Now what I've done is taken my heart bowls. You don't have to use this. You can find a heart pan. You can just put it in a round pan. It doesn't matter. But what I've done, just to show you kind of what it looks like finished, is taken my large, which is an 8-inch, and then I have a medium one. We've got the carrots in there, which is a 6-inch, and then a 4-inch. And I just press the dough into the bottom. And you want it about 1 inch thick. And then we're going to dimple the dough with our fingers and spritz it with olive oil, and then sprinkle the coarse salt and the rosemary. Now this is salt that's not the right coarseness. It should have been in between, but I couldn't find the right stuff at the store, and all I could find was the stuff that you churn in your little salt grinder. So, but just to get the right kind, and sprinkle that on there. And when you're going to break into this, you know, give him an individual little loaf and then serve it with a little platter of olive oil that you can dip into instead of butter. So, and I guarantee you, he'll think that that's
a winner.
special. So
Good.
I think we should go ahead and move on, since we've kind of explained this, Linda,
Okay.
and not taken the time to put this in the bowl. And our next recipe is going to be, one of my favorites, is a no-bake dark cherry cheesecake. And the ingredients are, for the crust, you're going to need 10 whole honey graham crackers, 2 tablespoons of sucanat, 2 tablespoons of pure maple syrup, 2 tablespoons of water. For the filling, you're going to need 1 cup of Morinu silken tofu, 1 cup Tofutti better than cream cheese or soya sauce imitation cream cheese, and 1 cup of water. You'll also need 1/2 cup cornstarch and 1 1/2 cups of better than ice cream vanilla flavor. For the cherry glaze on top, you're going to need 1 can of Welch's white grape raspberry juice, 1/4 cup cornstarch, and 1 12-ounce bag of frozen dark cherries. This recipe was a challenge. As a matter of fact, I want you to know I had prayer several times before I made this cheesecake, because I really wanted a cheesecake for Valentine's. But I've never, in the 2.5 years I've been making recipes for you, Linda, ever attempted a cheesecake, because I thought it was impossible to make something that tasted like cheesecake. So I went to my cupboard and I pulled out everything that I thought could possibly make something taste like a cheesecake, and had prayer, and then I started putting stuff together. And I didn't like the first one I made, but it was close, and so I went back and I made just a few alterations, and I think that this tastes as close to cheesecake as you're ever going to get. So, but I like it. It's a very nice taste, and with the cherries on top, it's delicious.
Good.
So we're going to start with the filling, and you're going to do this in a food processor. 1 cup of your, let's see, it's on this side, 1 cup of extra firm silken tofu. Do not use water packed. It'll be gritty. And 1 cup of, now you can use, you can't use too much of the imitation cream cheese, because it does not taste just like cream cheese. It kind of has its own flavor. And but there are 2 brands that I found. Better Than Cream Cheese made by Tofutti. Has the right consistency, but I don't think it tastes real cream cheesy. It also has hydrogenated fat, which I planned on talking to you about, but we're not going to have time today. But hydrogenated fat is a trans fatty acid, and it's something that our body does not recognize. So you need to really not eat hydrogenated fats as much as possible.
So read labels.
Read labels, and we'll talk about that more on another program. But soya sauce has, this is new, this was new in my health food store, a cream cheese style that I want to use today, and it's made with expeller pressed non-hydrogenated oil and organic soy. Now it does have caseinate in it, which is a milk protein, so if you are allergic to milk, and it's not the lactose, which is what most people are allergic to, is the milk sugar, you can go ahead and use this. This tastes more like cream cheese. I'm going to let you take that off, Linda. Let me give you a knife if you need to
Boy,
poke
this
through
is-
that. Cherry juice is boiling over here.
See, they want to make sure they keep it fresh, which we're thankful, but sometimes it's hard to get in there and get
Now, I have one more thing to put in that's going to go in yours, and that's 1 cup of, no, go ahead and put that in. 1 cup of water and 1/2 cup of cornstarch. My problem with making this the first time was getting it thick enough. It tasted okay, but I used Amis gel, and it just made it too gritty, and it just didn't work out. So I resorted to cornstarch. I wanted something that I knew would be in most people's cupboards. And I mean, I imagine you could use any other thickener, but things like xanthan gum and guar gum are not something, you're not going to make this recipe if I call for an ingredient like that. So we have to make a thickener, and don't be afraid when you're cooking this, because it turns into a cornstarch blob or ball, whichever you think sounds better. And that's what you want it to do. And once it becomes a solid cornstarch, see, it's already doing it. It's already thickening. And that's what you want it to do. And once it is a solid blob, you're going to put it in there with those ingredients and just process that until it's smooth. And this will hold it together, and this gives it the right consistency. So, and
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think blob is a gourmet word, don't you?
Hey, it works for me. When you're typing recipes at 5 o'clock in the morning or 11, which I really should not do, I'd much rather get to bed early and get up early, because that's really the only time when my house is really quiet. See, now doesn't that look pretty? Very interesting.
They're different.
Okay, the food processor will take out the rest. But that is what you need, as disgusting as it may look, to hold this pie together. And it just takes, I mean, it's just starch. Starch is starch. So let me put that in there for you.
Okay, so we're
It was
gonna,
a challenge.
we're gonna blend this all together.
And you need to put in one more, well, no, go ahead and blend that, and then we'll add our better than ice cream, which is really the secret ingredient to making this taste like, just get that smooth. Does it look like it's getting smooth? Okay, because you might need to stir that down. Go ahead and add our 1.5 cups of better than ice cream, and this makes an outstanding ice cream. It is delicious. And you mix it up equal amounts of powder and water, and put it in your ice cream maker. Is that looking smooth and creamy? Scrape that side all the way around. There you go. And I've just taken our 1 can of Welch's 100% grape juice, white grape raspberry, with a 1/4 cup of cornstarch to make a thicker glaze. You want to bring that to a boil, and then we're adding our bag of dark sweet cherries. And after we put our filling in, we'll just top it with this. Is that looking good, Linda? Is it creamy?
It looks great.
Okay.
And I have to say, I used to make the real cheesecakes, and this looks like the same batter. It really does.
Let's, do you need something to pull that out with? I don't know if this will work or
I'll
not.
let you tackle this.
Okay, let's just come straight up. There you go.
Okay.
And go ahead and spoon that right into our crust. Now these heart-shaped dishes, because I do get calls about them, I bought them about 4 or 5 years ago from Walmart. They didn't carry them the last couple years. I did see them at Target last year. So just look around at stores like that. I haven't seen them at Walmart this year, so it's one of those. And I can't find a brand name on it anywhere. Okay, now this has formed a real thick glaze now. And we're just going to cut off our dark cherries. And I do keep the cherries frozen right up until I put them in, because that kind of cools the glaze down before it goes on top of the filling.
I have to say, you had a very good idea here.
And I want you to know, the longer you process that, the more the better than ice cream dissolves in there, and it is totally creamy. Because I can see it has a little bit of, well, you can tell there's a little bit of granulated stuff in there still. But it should be totally smooth. And our topping is done. Okay, Linda, let's just pour this right onto the top. Okay, let me come over here.
That is beautiful.
Whoa.
And it's so pretty.
Well, I like cherry cheesecake to begin with. And You want to make sure, though, when you're topping this with the glaze, to totally cover the edges of your cheesecake. Otherwise, if you leave it, you will get little cracks and it'll split. So
Now, how long do you refrigerate it before you serve it?
depends on how long you can wait. Probably just an hour or two to let it set. So that's it
Good.
for our cheesecake.
Well, what's coming up next?
We have some cinnamon stick apples that are out of this world, and we are running out of time, so we're going to put the recipe up, and then we're going to tell you a little bit about them. You're going to need 4 large Rome apples cored to within 1/2 inch of the bottom, 1/4 plus 1/8 cup Hokan light coconut milk, 1/2 cup pure maple syrup, 1/4 cup of water, 1/4 teaspoon ginger, and 4 cinnamon sticks that are 3-inch long. Well, this recipe is very tasty and easy to make, Linda, and we've already gone ahead and whisked up our 1/4 plus 1/8 cup of coconut milk and 1/2 cup of pure maple syrup and 1/4 teaspoon of ginger. And after you scoop out core your apples, you just fill them with this to the top, and then just a little over the top, and stick a cinnamon stick inside. The water, which is 1/4 cup of water, goes down in the base, and that's all there is to it.
And you bake it how long?
350 degrees for 45 minutes if you've got a medium apple, longer if it's bigger. And this is our finished product. And of course, you can't have a baked apple without a scoop of this Hokan light coconut ice cream. And I just want to show you. Oh, this is so delicious.
Ooh,
so
that looks great. Well, we want to get a shot of our dishes here, just in closing. And this is our Sweetheart menu. Boy, it looks wonderful.
And I think the guys will know that we love them.
I think so too. Yeah. Well, before we do close, so I'd like to put up your address on the screen, and if you at home would like to contact Barbara, you can contact her at Taste of Health Ministries, P.O. Box 38, Gaston, South Carolina, 29053, and her phone number is 803-936-1714. Once again, Barbara, thank you so much for being with us, and thank you for joining us as well. Until next time, may the Lord richly bless you.